Welcome to Market Matters. It's our Friday edition with me, Nadia Hassan, and Sulhi Azman. And of course, we're going back to our format about what things made us happy and what things made us sad this week. I almost feel like breaking out the red, white, and blue because simply the week for the markets actually ended up on a happy note after what was really quite. I mean, if you looked at it, it looks like a roller coaster a little bit.
It is a roller coaster ride for the market. And
so how did it close?
Well, the market today ended up 1.83 points higher to 1,661.89 points. Now, perhaps there are many factors to this as a result season now, and I think investors are also awaiting the arrival of President Barack Obama.
Well,
your Twitter friend.
That's you, man. He's already arrived, by the way. Yes, my Facebook and Twitter friend. President Barack Obama is currently in town. He arrived at about 3 o'clock. This afternoon. And as we were saying, the things about made us happy. Why are we happy here? Because actually I think this might be the last time he, the 44th President of the United States, might actually come. It might be the last time he comes as a sitting president. And so he's in town for the 27th ASEAN Summit. And so the funny thing is, I was looking at the history of what he's done, and he's done quite a few things. Repeal, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is one of my personal favorites. But the thing is, he actually skewed to Asia. And I wondered whether that was really because he needed to, whether he needed to, or he thought that it was time that Asia should get some attention because of China.
China, yeah, correct. I mean, if you look at the history itself, Barack Obama is also has a heritage root from the. I mean, he was raised in Indonesia. His mother is Indonesian. I think he's a half Indonesian. So and there's a lot of things.
Some of it. There's somewhere
some
in there.
Some of it, yeah, correct. And there's a lot of things, good things going on here in Asia. Where it is also booming. And in fact, our trade minister has always been talking about Malaysia as chairman of ASEAN, and ASEAN has a lot of potential for growth.
Well, as we actually went into this recording, we actually did catch part of his town hall at Taylor's. Charming, disarmingly charming. In fact, he makes jokes. He compliments people on their shirts.
How you wish you would be there, right?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the questions I ask, right? He's really, really charming, and he just commands the room. It's impressive to see. I wonder if he answered some really tough questions. Climate change was one of them.
Yeah, climate change was one of them. I mean, and in fact, one of the questions that asked about the agriculture stuff, and Obama calls the palm oil industry as simply extractive and doesn't build the middle class.
Yeah, okay, that's very, very controversial considering where we sit now in the CPO chain. Of course, there was a big question by this very brave gentleman who talked about freedom of speech and political concerns and political scandal. And Obama's answer was, yes, I will ask PM Najib about this particular thing. And he says, well, now that you've mentioned it, I will ask some more. Okay, it's a very nice PR answer. I don't know what it's going to achieve, but he himself admits that sometimes you do make the strangest bedfellows. He doesn't agree with the Premier of China's and their policy on human rights. You still need to get into bed with them.
Correct, yes. And today, someone also called Obama old, which I think he was also a little bit.
Well, he was charming. He charmingly kind of burst it out. But let's forget, Obama's coming to the end. He has had some failures. I don't think. It's hard for when you're the US president to make change because the first 4 years of your tenure, you're finding it trying to get elected for the another 4 years.
Correct.
And to be fair, to change the world, can you do it in 4 years?
No, it's not. I mean, it's going to be very difficult. At least you need about 10 years,
Okay, so moving on to what actually made us sad, of course, the Paris bombings. It's been a week from now. Geopolitical concerns just weighed on the entire world. It's an overarching theme of where do we stand with terrorism. So let's look at it from the market's point of view. The Monday when it announced, everybody felt the jitters, but let's be really practical. It was a blip in the face of what is a massive tragedy. So what are the economic implications of terrorism?
I mean, a lot of things are going on. I mean, in fact, if you look at it from the stock market point of view, a country, maybe in Germany, they were trying to think about, shutting off the stock market at least for a day, due to this bomb scare, for instance, in Hanover, and also in Paris as well. It sent stock market reeling.
Yeah, but what are the costs of terrorism?
I mean, you have all these, these buildings are being bombed. The buildings gone down.
Economic costs of terrorism, Sulhi. I mean, I think we're thinking of maybe border trades.
Yeah, I mean, border trade, traveling, tourism, for instance.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of flights have been cancelled. Air France was diverted for once. Two of them being flown to the France. A lot of things. This is really a bit scary.
Okay, for me, I'm worried that it's the new normal.
That
is the scary part.
That's the scary part.
Okay, so let's move on to something else that made us actually happier this week. Today, particularly date, 30th anniversary of the Calvin and Hobbes strip. What does that have to do with business? The fact is that the creator turned down the opportunity to do business. Bill Watterson, who actually made Calvin and Hobbes, 30 years ago, actually, stopped his comic. he could have gone and started making more money, but he stopped his comic because he wanted to protect intellectual property.
Correct, and he also could actually gain about 300 to 400 million ringgit. That's easy bucks, and you are actually going to be instant millionaires. Nadia,
Yeah,
think
exactly.
about that.
Because the reason why he rejected that was because he didn't want to do the merchandising. He didn't want to debase his characters. Now, I want to compare it with something like Peanuts. You see Snoopy on everything, whether it's underwear or plastic forks. He thought his characters were better than that. What do you feel? Would you have given it up to protect your intellectual property?
Yeah, I mean, I would beg to differ. I think that you can always protect your intellectual property in so many other ways, and licensing it to others, it might make someone happy. I mean, you think about it, you can make your fans happy by having those stuffed tigers, and Hobbes.
Yeah, but in his mind, it worked as a comic strip, and in his mind, that's what kept the demand actually rolling. And the comic, let's not forget, it had broad issues like environmentalism, public education, opinion polls. It was very, very smart for a comic that was essentially about a boy and his tiger.
And his tiger, correct. And let's get real, you look at the comics have been published in about more than 250 newspapers.
Actually, 2,400.
2,400, there you go. The number speaks it all.
It speaks it for itself. But yes, go pick up this comic today. I had a lot of fun reading the first ones, but I think you gotta admire a man who just says no to money. He could have made millions, and he said, you know what, I don't need to. Gotta be it. But talking about millions and banks is our last topic for this week. We're talking about banking earnings. If you've been following our show for the entire week, you have seen that we've been talking a lot about banks, AMMB. If you see the chart right now, everybody seems to be down, predominantly. The only ones who seem to be up, Maybank, public banks. The only ones that seem to be, averting the storm.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Maybank and public bank, they've always been the market leader in terms of asset qualities, in terms of loan growth, and so on. But some banks, let's face it, Nadia. We have about 10 local banks. We have 16 international banks in Malaysia with 30 million populations. The competition is getting much more stiffer.
Yeah, especially for the commercial side more than anything else. I think my worry is that it's the economic barometer, because you want to know whether people are actually going to the banks. And these numbers, more troubling for me was the layoffs. Yeah,
correct. I mean, we've seen the start of the year, we have CIMB laying off some 1,000 workers, followed suit by RHB Bank,
yes,
and also other bank as well.
So all of them were basically the staff were given an MSS, which I translate into a handshake and a friendly slap on the bum on the way out. But yeah, I think it's a bit worrying, but I also think it's a cycle.
It is a cycle, correct, and we are going through troubled time, and I think bank is getting leaner and meaner. But speaking of that, there are also other issues with the bank as well. Yesterday, I was there at the AM Bank Berhad, where they are still looking for the new CEOs. I mean, apparently the singing banker, Tan Sri Azman Hashim, is still looking for someone to be in, taking helm of his bank.
Yeah, so succession plans, I think, is an issue. But we're running out of time talking about President Obama and everything else and the stuff that comes with it. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi Azman. This has been Market Matters, our Friday edition. If you want more on some stories, go online. The Edge Markets is there for you. The Edge Weekly, if you want a little bit more in-depth read. Good night, guys. Have a very safe weekend.
Good night.